this devotion, you must know, dear faithful, was condemned 3 times by the previous pontiffs. Pope John Paul is the one who brought it to life, gave it a permission. Under Pius XII, it was prohibited. And under John the 23rd, it was condemned twice. Yet, under John Paul II, it was brought to the forward. That already smacks of something strange. Why suddenly did it be brought out in the open when so many things were doubtful, even questionable, as the church stated about her writings, and then also about this devotion? Now again, I'm not trying to vitiate anyone's faith, because sometimes we attach our faith to the devotions, but we want to know that those devotions are solid and not misleading. So what is the biggest, let's say, primary error, principal error of the Divine Mercy? And I don't even like saying that, because of course our Lord is Divine Mercy. But the principal error, which we must be aware of, is unconditional mercy. Unconditional mercy, as though, and it fits well, doesn't it? The modern ecumenism and the modern theology of universal salvation, of course, everybody is going to have mercy. Everybody's going to be saved. It's not right. And it's not the teaching of the church until modern times. So, this universal salvation, so amply promoted by Pope John Paul II, goes hand in hand with this mercy, Divine Mercy Sunday, because, again, unconditional mercy for all. It's not true. Now, Pope Pius XII put the writings of Sister Faustina on the index of prohibited books. That meant that he considered that the content would lead Catholics astray or in the wrong direction. Next came the prohibitions of Pope John the 23rd. Twice in his pontificate, he issued condemnations of the Divine Mercy writings. Not once, but twice under Pope John the 23rd, this particular devotion was condemned through the Holy Office. The first condemnation was in a plenary meeting held on November 19th, 1958, and the Holy Office issued 3 points that are very important for us to consider. Firstly, that there's no evidence of the supernatural origin of these revelations. There's no evidence of the supernatural origin of these revelations. This means that the members of the Holy Office examined the content and decided there's nothing there to indicate the apparitions were supernatural. In an authentic apparition like Our Lady of Lourdes, Our Lady of Fatima, you can look at the content and affirm it can be definitively said they are a divine origin. But there's enough evidence to say that it's possibly so. On the other hand, in the Divine Mercy apparitions, they said definitively there's no evidence. This translates, we do not think that these apparitions come from God. Number 2, the Feast of Divine Mercy should be instituted, should not be instituted. Why? Because it is based on apparitions that are not clearly coming from God. Then it would be rash and temerarious to institute a feast in the church based on something that is false apparition. And thirdly, it is forbidden to disseminate writings propagating this devotion under the form received by Sister Faustina, as well as the image typical of it. So it was forbidden to even publish the image of our Lord as Divine Mercy. Now we've all seen this image. Our Lord's heart's not revealed, just a center of light with rays of blue and magenta or pink, it looks like. It shows a strange picture of Jesus. It could very well make us uneasy compared to what we normally see of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. It shows multicolored rays, red, white, and blue. The Holy Office issued the second degree on the order of Pope John the 23rd. It forbade once again, in 1959, so a year later, spreading the images of the Divine Mercy and writings. So already, that should make us uneasy. Now, I know I've seen amongst articles that I've blessed some Divine Mercy images, but I cannot do that going forward. I will not bless these images going forward, because now I've been able to talk to you about it. I wish that I had time to explain this more thoroughly, in case you had questions, in catechism, for instance, but I need to address it now, since last Sunday was Divine Mercy Sunday. I know this is growing, and we have a lot of new people coming to the parish who think that the devotion's fine to promote or, yes, evangelize with. The central error of the Divine Mercy is that it promises lots of spiritual rewards with no requirement of penance, no mention of reparation, and no mention of any condition. And that's not the way we live our life. Our lives as Catholics is a life of warfare, of work, of effort. Unfortunately, this corresponds very much with Pope John Paul II wrote in his encyclical Vives in Misericordia. It re-echoes his mercy with no price, gifts from heaven with no requirements, God's mercy with no mention of penance. And as I said to you, that we already know that Pope John Paul II promoted universal salvation. But I will say that there's one, again, aspect, one, he calls it apparition, whereby, or reality, where the host was coming flying out of the tabernacle 3 times into her hands. Not proper. When in the life of saints, especially women saints, have we been allowed just to touch the host? You think that would be a proper devotion in the modern times when communion in the hand is so readily promoted, contrary to the teachings of the church? You wouldn't promote a devotion that goes contrary to what we even do here in tradition. As though our Lord would just throw the host out into her hands that many times. No. But it's the whole promotion of the devotion that sort of leads away from the traditional understanding of Christ the King, of the Sacred Heart, of reparation, of work for mercy, for our Lord's mercy.